You're welcome, sir. Most welcome. Now then. Margotin, will you be quiet? Pray don't heed him, sir. He only barks, he never bites. What would the Abbe please to have? What refreshment can I offer? All I have is at his service.
You are, I presume, Monsieur Caderousse.
Yes, sir. I'm Gaspard Caderousse, at your service.
Gaspard Caderousse. Yes, the name is the same. You formerly lived, I believe, in the Allée de Milan.
I did.
Did you, in the year 1814 or 1815, know anything of a young sailor named Dantes?
Dantes? Did I know dear Edmund? Edmund Dantes and myself were intimate friends.
Yes, this young man's name was Edmund.
What has become of poor Edmund? Did you know him? Is he alive and at liberty?
He died. A wretched, hopeless, heartbroken prisoner.
Poor fellow. There, sir, is a proof that good people are never rewarded on this earth, and that none but the wicked prosper.
You speak as though you had loved this young Dantes.
So I did. And of what did he die?
Of what, think you, do young and strong men die in prison unless it be of imprisonment? But the strangest part of the story is that Dantes, even in his dying moments, was utterly ignorant of the cause of his detention.
So he was. How should he have been otherwise?
He besought me to try and clear up a mystery he had never been able to penetrate. A rich Englishman, a cellmate of his, bestowed upon Dantes a large diamond upon quitting that prison. In thanks for the young man helping him through an illness, Dantes carefully preserved it that he might have something to live on, should he be released. The stone was estimated at 50,000 francs.
Bless me, 50,000 francs. Surely the diamond was as large as a nut to be worth all that.
Judge for yourself. I have it with me.
How comes the diamond in your possession, sir? Did Edmund make you his heir?
Merely his testamentary executor. I once possessed 4 dear and faithful friends, he said. The name of one is Caderousse, another is called Danglars. The third of my friends, although my rival, was much attached to me. His name was Fernand, and that of my betrothed was... I have forgotten what he called her.
Mercedes.
True, Mercedes it was. You will go to Marseille, said Dantes. You will sell this diamond, you will divide the money into 5 equal parts, and give an equal portion to these good friends, the only persons who have loved me upon earth.
Why into 5 parts? You only mentioned 4 persons.
Because the 5th is dead, as I hear. The 5th sharer in Edmund's bequest was his own father.
Too true, the poor old man did die.
I learned as much at Marseille, but was unable to obtain any particulars of his end. Can you enlighten me?
I do not know who could if I could not. The doctors called his complaint gastroenteritis. His acquaintances say he died of grief, but I, who saw him in his dying moments, I say he died of downright starvation.
Starvation? It appears then that the miserable old man was forsaken by everyone. Surely had not such been the case, he would not have perished by so dreadful a death.
He was not altogether forsaken, for Mercedes and Monsieur Morel were very kind to him. But somehow the poor old man profoundly hated Fernand, the very person that you named just now as being one of Dantes' faithful and attached friends.
And was he not so?
Dantes was so honorable and true in his own nature that he believed everybody's professions of friendship. Poor Edmund, he was cruelly deceived. But it was fortunate that he never knew, or he might have found it more difficult while on his deathbed to pardon his enemies.
Do you then know who his enemies were?
Do I? No one better.
Speak out then. Say who it was.
And what good would it do? If the poor lad were living still, I should not hesitate.
You prefer then that I should bestow on men you say are false and treacherous the reward intended for faithful friendship?
You say, truly, the gift of poor Edmund was not meant for such traitors as Fernand and Danglars. Besides, what would it be to them? No more than a drop of water in the ocean.
How so? Are these persons then so rich and powerful?
Do you not know their history?
I do not. Pray relate it to me. I am all attention.
You see, Danglars, this is how it is. Fernand, whom you see here, is in love with a very fine girl named Mercedes, but it appears, unfortunately, that the fine girl is in love with the mate of the Farron. And as the Farron arrived today, why, poor Fernand has been dismissed.
Well, and what then? Mercedes is not accountable to any one person, is she? Is she not free to love whomsoever she will?
And when is the wedding to be?
Oh, it is not yet fixed.
No, but it will be. As sure as Dantes will be captain of the Farron. Okay, Danglars? Fernand is not the only person who is put out by the fortunate arrival of Dantes.
Well, let us drink to Captain Edmond Dantes, husband of the beautiful Mercedes.
It drives me to despair.
Do you love Mercedes?
I adore her,
For long?
as long as I have known her. Always.
And you sit here, tearing your hair instead of seeking to remedy the condition.
I would stab the man. But Mercedes told me that if any misfortune should happen to her betrothed, she would kill herself.
That's what I call love. That's love, or I don't know what love is.
Come, you appear to me a good sort of fellow, and hang me, I should like to help you.
Yes, but how?
My dear fellow, you are 3 parts drunk. Finish the bottle, and you will be completely so. Drink then, and do not meddle with what we are discussing.
Drunk? That's a good one.
You would like to help me.
I could
drink
drink 4 more such bottles.
To help you, it would be sufficient that Dantes did not marry Mercedes. And the marriage may be easily thwarted, and yet Dantes need not die.
Death alone can separate them.
Absence severs, as well as death. And if the walls of a prison were between Edmund and Mercedes, they would be...
Why should they put Dantes in prison?
Hold your tongue.
I won't hold my tongue. I say, I want to know why they should put Dantes in prison. I like Dantes. Dantes, your health.
Well, you understand, there is no need to kill him.
Certainly not. If you have the means of having Dantes arrested, not killed.
Kill Dantes? Who talks of killing Dantes? I won't have him killed. I won't. He's my friend. His father is my neighbor and would be very sad. I won't have Dantes killed.
And
I
who
won't.
said anything about killing him, Muddlehead? We were merely joking. Drink to his health and do not interfere with
Yes.
us.
Yes, Dantes' good health. Here's to his health.
But the
Hurrah.
means. The means.
Give me that pen and paper on the
I've
table.
always had more dread of a pen and a sheet of paper than of a sword or a pistol.
This fellow is not as drunk as he appears to be. Give him some more wine, Fernand.
Well,
Well, then, I should say, for instance, that if after a voyage such as Dantes has just made, in which he touched at the island of Elba, someone were to denounce him to the king's procureur as a Bonapartist agent. He has a letter he has to deliver, but I not know what it is. Does it matter what it says if the letter comes from Elba? Now, your revenge looks like common sense, for in no way can it revert to yourself, and the matter will thus work its own way.
"'Twas so then. 'Twas so then. Oh, Faria. Faria, how well did you judge men and things?"
What did you please to say, sir?
Nothing. Nothing. Go on.
It was Danglars who wrote the denunciation, and Fernand who put it in the post.
You earlier mentioned a Monsieur Morel. Who was he?
The owner of the Farron, he wrote and implored so energetically, he was persecuted as a Bonapartist. Nay, he's almost at the point of dishonor. He and I are in destitution, while Fernand and Danglars are rolling in wealth.
How is that? What has become of Danglars, the instigator, and therefore most guilty?
What has become of him? During the war with Spain, he made a fortune. Then, with that money, he speculated in the funds and tripled, quadrupled his capital. He is now the Baron Danglars, with a fine residence in the Rue de Mont Blanc, and I know not how many millions in his strongbox.
Ah, he is happy.
Happy? Who can answer for that? But if a large fortune produces happiness, Danglars is happy.
And Fernand? How could a poor Catalan fisher boy without education or resources make a fortune?
I mean, there must have been in his life some strange secret that no one knows.
But then, by what visible steps has he attained this high fortune or high position?
Both, sir. He has both fortune and position. both.
This must be impossible.
Fernand was enrolled in the active army and was a sentry at the door of a general who carried on a secret correspondence with the enemy. He would have been court-martialed if Napoleon had remained on the throne, but his action was rewarded by the royals. He was a captain during the Spanish War, and rendered such services that he was made colonel, and received the title of count and the cross of an officer of the Legion of Honor, so that now he owns a magnificent house, number 27, Rue de Helder, Paris.
Destiny. Destiny.
This was not all. The war with Spain being ended, Fernand sought and obtained leave to go and serve in Greece. It was stated that the Comte de Morcerf, this was the name he bore, had entered the service of Ali Pasha with the rank of Instructor General. Ali Pasha was killed, as you know, but before he died, he recompensed the services of Fernand by leaving him a considerable sum.
And Mercedes. They tell me that she has disappeared.
Mercedes is at this moment one of the greatest ladies in Paris. She is the Countess de Morcerf.
Married.
When Dantes had been imprisoned for a year, Fernand asked for her to marry him, as no word could be had of her betrothed, either living or dead. Mercedes begged for 6 months more in which to await and mourn for Edmund.
So that makes 18 months in all. What more could the most devoted lover desire? Thank you for your honesty. God may seem sometimes to forget for a time while his justice reposes, but there always comes a moment when he remembers. And behold, a proof. Here, my friend, take this diamond. It is yours.
What? For me only? Sir, do not jest with
The
me.
diamond was to have been shared among his friends. Edmund had one friend only, and thus it cannot be divided. Take the diamond then and sell it. It is worth 50,000 francs, and I repeat my wish that this sum may suffice to release you from your wretchedness. He would more likely have got rid of me by sticking a knife into me. And he did not know the particulars. I had not even shared them with Mercedes.
Then it is Danglars. Unless... Did they know each other? Fernand and Danglars?
No. Yes, they did. And now I recollect seeing them both sitting at a table together the evening before the day fixed for my wedding.
Were they alone?
No, there was a neighbor of mine there, but he was very drunk. Stay. Now I remember quite well that on the table were pens, ink, and paper. Oh, the heartless, treacherous scoundrels.
Which only leaves the mystery of your imprisonment. Who was this man who examined you?
Deputy attorney.
Was he young or old?
About 6 or 7 and 20 years of age, I should say.
Old enough to be ambitious, but too young to be corrupt. Did his conduct change at all during the examination?
He did appear much disturbed when he read the marshal's letter that had brought me into this scrape. He gave me proof of his sympathy at any rate. He burned the letter, as that was the only evidence that could have incriminated me.
This attorney might be even more a scoundrel than the others. This action is somewhat too sublime to be natural. Can you think of any interest he might have had in the destruction of the letter?
It is altogether possible he might have. He made me promise never to speak of the letter to anyone.
To whom was this letter addressed?
To Monsieur Noirtier, Rue Cologne, number 13, Paris.
Noirtier. I knew a person of that name in my youth with whom I shared some ideals. Noirtier de Villefort.
De Villefort? But that was the name of the magistrate. Gerard de Villefort.
You poor boy. This Noirtier was his father.
His father? His father.
Ah, my friend. I see in your eyes, and I regret now having helped you discover all this,
Why so?
because it has instilled a new passion in your heart, that of vengeance.
You speak truth. Vengeance. I swear to you that I shall have vengeance. Knowing this, knowing that they all three sit out there uncaring of my predicament, I cannot bear it. I shall go mad sitting in here.
Alas, I fear this is so. My friend, the plan of escape you had, it is, aside from the killing of the guard, a good one. Will you promise me not to kill the guard?
Yes. Yes.
And you promise me, my friend, that you shall not seek to kill these enemies of yours.
You cannot ask that.
I do ask that. I will not work to escape knowing that I am letting a murderer loose upon the world, and knowing that my friend shall stain his soul in such a way.
Oh, worthy Abbé. I cannot forgive them.
Perhaps someday you can. But I will have your promise not to kill them.
Yes. I swear. I swear I shall not kill them if I ever escape this prison.
Then, my friend, we have a new schedule. In the mornings we shall dig, and in the afternoons I shall teach your mind. The project of escaping may take twice as long, but the days will be a blessing, not a burden.
Oh, yes. What shall you teach me first?
Everything!